Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and it looks like Wilfried Nancy is about to be confirmed as the next Celtic permanent manager. Who would have thought it? There will be plenty of content on the channel as we get a new manager in situ and we start to see the unravelings, the unfurlings of what could be the next phase, the next kind of generation of Celtic, players and teams and tactics and all that other good stuff. But the number one question is coming to me from live chats, comment sections, DMs and emails and you name it. Is Quinny, who is he going to bring in from MLS? Who are the top players that Wilfried Nancy could be looking to recruit Ange Postecoglou style from the league that he's coming in from, in that perfect little zone of in the Celtic budget, is a high quality player, someone the manager knows that could, really hit the ground running and help us going. Now, MLS is actually a division in a league that we've scouted on this channel for the last 2 or 3 seasons, rather regularly, over the windows. Sadly, we've never really dipped our toe into the market, but it does feel like this could be a perfect opportunity to go and pluck out some gems out of MLS that could make a massive difference to our squad. And that's what we'll be looking at in the video today. At any point, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Get into the comment section as ever and let me know your thoughts and feelings on everyone we talk about in the video today, as well as adding in your own suggestions, your own 2 cents, because as much as this is an MLS video and we do expect Wilfried Nancy from Columbus Crew to probably bring in some MLS talent along with him, make no mistake about it, one of the main benefits, angles, advantages gained by bringing somebody like Wilfried Nancy in is that MLS has been trying to position itself as the feeder league to Europe of Central and South America. So I'm not just looking at MLS for someone like Wilfried Nancy, but could he help the club who have been twisting in the wind with Alexandro Bernabe and maybe 1 or 2 other guys over the years that, try and pull them out of South America and bring them into European football with, varying success. So I think that could be another genre, another kind of demographic of football we might unlock and we might start to scout a little bit harder. And I'll maybe make a wee mention towards that at the very end of the video. Again, a bit of a returning character to some of the scouting videos we did actually not too long ago. But yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it, because Columbus Crew is the team that he's coming from and it feels only appropriate that this is where we begin our search. Now, there's not too many big smasher, fancy headline maker type players, DPs as they're known in America, but there is plenty of pretty good players in here, a championship winning team under the manager of course. And with him looking to tweak, alter and adjust the Celtic team tactics, formation, the way we go about things, having players that have played under his command previously is, it feels like something that could happen. Now, I heard on Ryan11H's channel that one of the players that we've been hotly linked to is Wessam Abu Ali, who is a Palestinian striker. Now, if the board were going to try and extend some sort of olive branch to the Celtic fans, it feels a bit tropey, doesn't it? But could bring in someone like this and maybe be some sort of gesture, I don't know. Again, check out Ryan's video when he spoke about him, but he's very injury prone. He does have a bit of a scoring record, a bit of a scoring pedigree to himself. And having checked him out, he's not really too dissimilar to Giakoumakis when he was in MLS. I found that quite striking looking at this guy. And we do need an arrowhead, we do need a forward that can lead the line. So if that is a profile that's already coming out of the rumour mill, maybe anyone that's close to the Nancy camp, the Columbus Crew camp, etc., then I think that bodes well. I do think that's something we need to keep in the front of our mind here, because when I've scouted MLS in the past, I've been trying to think about improving the Rodgers team, the Ange team or whatever, with the tactics, the formations, the profiles we're using. But with Nancy coming into Celtic, we need to really reimagine all of the incumbent squad and then think, what is he missing? Now, Arrowhead, number 9, but Fox in the box type striker. We all know that we're really missing one. We had a video on the channel a few weeks ago that you guys seem to love, talking about the big problem holding Celtic back. If you missed it, I'll link it at the end of this one. We did a winger video, the equivalent of follow-up. Again, if you missed it, feel free to check it out. Now, he's not currently at Columbus Crew, right? But when I seen this guy playing for the Crew earlier this season, or maybe last season, I thought this is quite a Celtic-y winger. Now, we have quite a lot of left wingers, which is where this guy mainly plays, but in the Nancy system, slightly different. And his name is Aziel Jackson. Currently not actually at Columbus Crew. He recently moved to Jagiellonia over in Poland. They play Conference League football. Yuki Kobayashi is also in this team, as well as Leon Flack, who used to play for St. Pauli, played for a team in MLS. You guys won't know him, but he's recently moved to Europe. He's in one of those kind of lower tier, lower level leagues, and Again, if you were to just snap him out of Poland in the January window, you'd probably do it for a packet of crisps and a gingy bottle, and you know that the Celtic board would probably go along with that. I don't think it's a serious contender, but it was just something I noticed when I looked at the Columbus Crew squad. I was like, where's Azeel Jackson? He would actually fit Celtic, but he's not even there. The star striker, the headline maker, two-time MLS champion, Uruguay international as well. We've got Marcelo Sarace in the building, Diego Rossi. Now, Rossi is a fantastic player. He would be a very good Celtic player, make no mistake about it. Part of the LAFC team that was, all guns blazing coming out the gate. Will Farrell, all the big money that they had as a franchise when they started. Their front three of Diego Rossi, Brian Rodriguez, Carlos Vela blew the league away. He really wanted to move to Europe, Diego Rossi, and he got a move to Fenerbahce. I'm not sure we'll have that on the tail of the tape here. But he moved to Turkey, and it wasn't really... You see how good he is in America, by the way. Like, he's levels above. He went to Fenerbahce, and it didn't really work out for him. Yeah, as you can see here. Infrequent appearances, regularly off the bench, and he moved from LAFC to Fenerbahce. Didn't really make the cut, and went back to Columbus Crew, went back to MLS, and was a resounding success for them. Now, a player that is not the number 9, and in the absence of Cucho Hernandez at Columbus Crew, they really had to try and reimagine their front line, and Diego Rossi very much is a guy that plays one part of the job, one part of the role. Currently valued at €8.5 million. He's got, a thick end of 12 months left on his contract. But when you look at this guy's moves, when he's left LAFC as a Uruguay international, a high value prospect, moving to Europe, it was on a loan deal for a combined transfer of €7.5 million across the loan fee and then the fee obligation to make it permanent. And they then sold him back for €6 million. This guy will firmly be in the price category that Celtic love to shop in. Like I said, a bit of a Uruguay international, 7 caps, 1 goal. They do have an option for a further year to protect himself, I suppose. But this would quite firmly be the Ange Dyson Maeda equivalent. A guy with high energy, knows the system, has got great execution, is clearly a winner where he's been already. And Dyson made a bit of a false start in Europe, if you recall, as well, before it kind of got back on track for him before coming to us. So again, there could be some nice parallels there between that and Diego Rossi. I think this is a signing that all Celtic fans would get behind. It would be really hard to keep the Not a Penny campaign going when you've got Rossi number 10 or something like that on the back of Celtic shirts going out the store. But this could be a guy, a real shirt seller, a real headline maker, a real maverick, a real talisman. Something the team is badly needing. Another player of Columbus Crew that is seen as being an ideal target perhaps for Nancy to come in and help the integration, the adoption of his style of play, is Max Arston. Now, Max Arston is a very versatile, physical, exciting, wide player. Very versatile across playing right and left. Can play in those wide areas for Nancy, most famously that kind of left wing back role, but can even play in some of the more forward advanced areas. He's broke into Mauricio Pochettino's America squad, looking to be probably the first choice left back for them, and he's had some really good performances for club and country, and at the age of 24 is in a really good position maybe to make the move to Europe, having became MLS champion and America national. Again, the transfer value will be right in Celtic's category. We do have Tierney, we do have Sarace on loan, but we don't have a long-term solution to the Nancy system of who's going to play on that left-hand side. Maybe we want Tierney as a centre-back, maybe we want, we're not going to have Sarace for any great length of time beyond this season, and we need to forward plan further and beyond that. And as you can see, he's given some versatility to him here. He's got quite a long contract, so there's no kind of exploitation on that front, more than the player's ambition, a transfer fee, and Columbus Crew. And American teams are always happy. They want players to move to Europe and be successful. So you can imagine, although they're not going to bend over and take one for us, they're not going to get in the way of a deal for somebody like this. Again, thinking forward planning, this isn't something I would see happening in January. Maybe it could, but we, again, don't really see Kasper Schmeichel having a career at Celtic beyond this season, just with his age, his contract situation. It feels that Sinisalo was going to be the heir apparent. Now, I actually think Celtic's number one strategy should be to play Sinisalo as of next season, but recruit, buy somebody else, loan to buy, whatever, who is almost as good as Sinisalo or maybe on the same level, and really just have them fight it out to the death so that we ultimately just get the best first choice goalkeeper possible. One of the top 2 candidates for my money in MLS would be Columbus Crew's Patrick Schulte. Again, a younger goalkeeper getting into the America setup, knows the manager well. You could see that being a move that happens really well. For context, my other one would be Matt Freese of New York City. The guy's a Celtic goalkeeper. Trust me. Now, if we're looking beyond the Columbus Crew and we're thinking about really just what we know about the current Celtic team, you know, the failings or the gaps it has, you know, the holes it needs plugged up, the areas it needs strengthening, we need a striker. We've mentioned that already. The top striker I would like to see Celtic spend some money on from the MLS, given that Alonso Martinez, who was my top pick, has now got an MCL injury, is Dejan Joveljic. Now, I've mentioned this guy on the channel before. It was a big money move for LA Galaxy. They won the title with him and Gabriel Peck and Ricky Puig. Marco Reus was in the squad. And then because of the MLS rules, they kind of, you know, they wanted to sign some other players and they had to let some other DPs go. Joveljic was one of them, and he had to go to Kansas. And the reason he had to go to Kansas is because they're one of the worst teams in the league at this point. And he made the move to Kansas, and normally this is where DPs, this is where big money players in MLS kind of die out and maybe go somewhere else because they lose interest. They get moved to an unfashionable market or whatever. But he's moved to Kansas and been the main man. He's been a one-man team, a one-man wrecking crew. A former European wonder kid, you maybe recognise his name. Frankfurt spent a lot of money for him back in the day. Previously Vanderlecht, etc. as well. His contract is up in like 2 years' time, but the transfer value, as you can see here, €5.5 million. And referencing in context in Diego Rossi, like we said before, a guy who was the best guy in the league moving to Fenerbahce, went for about 5 odd million. So again, this isn't a deal I don't think would be out of Celtic's grasp or out of their ability. And this is a perfect Wilfried Nancy Fox in the box number 9 type striker. Nominated for the Golden Boy Award in 2018. Yeah, we see some of his credentials down here. Frankfurt, etc. Yeah, so that's all there. You maybe recognise him from Football Manager and the rumour mills and all the rest of it as well. A Serbia international, he's not played for them in a number of years, granted. One of the things I really like about Joveljic is he's like a mad chess player. I mean, if he can move from LA to Kansas and be brilliant, he's a mad chess guy, and he's shown the ability. He's been, you know, a Golden Boy nominee before. He's been at the top end of the European game. He clearly has top level techers. This feels like I could be a good guy for Celtic. I like him a lot. But again, if we're keeping it that top of the league, top of the food chain level approach, it's kind of hard to say because there will be a change in tactics and dynamic with the front line. At the moment, we don't have a right winger, and if we do still want Nancy, or if Nancy still wants to fill that void with someone in that mould, Gabriel Peck is the number one guy in MLS we should be looking at. A Brazilian wonder kid that's signed there for big money. Like I just mentioned there, alongside Joveljic, won the MLS Cup with LA Galaxy, was a huge figure. But they lost Ricky Puig, who was a Barcelona. He's like 24 or something. He's like a bit of a wonder kid. And he was just... Between the two of them, the guys were just a joke. Far too good for the league, and as you can see here, ripped it to shreds. He was going to get a move to... Like, a few big teams were really looking at Gabriel Peck for big money. Arsenal's, PSG's, the likes. It never really materialised. Ricky Puig got a really bad injury, and Galaxy have been like one of the worst teams in the league. As you can see here with Peck, he's still like doing pretty well, but the spotlight is right off him. These guys love to move to Europe. It's their goal. It's MLS's goal, is to take them from South America and put them into Europe. And again, if you want to use a contemporary, as a guy by the name of Thiago Almada, who won the World Cup as an MLS player. He made one appearance in the tournament for Atlanta United, and they really struggled to get the sort of club and the sort of money to show up at Atlanta United to take him to Europe. He's now in Europe with Lyon. He's not really doing particularly amazing, don't get me wrong here, but this is their goal, this is their ambition. And to come to Celtic, to be the main man, Wilfried Nancy should know him. There might be a wee bit of extra buy-in you get, despite the turmoil at the club, etc. Being in the Europa League kind of cut adrift. But this is a guy that Celtic would love. If we could get this guy loan to buy, or like your 8 to 12 million euro bracket, and maybe you give them a sell-on clause, this is a guy that you could sell for anything. If he showed up and did like Jota, Abada, Maeda, Kun numbers for us, you could sell to a number of different leagues for really name your price. So should be an attractive prospect to Celtic, although it would be one that would require some outlay. Now, when it comes to the midfield deficiencies or reinforcements, upgrades that we've needed, I've been a big Jack McGlynn fan on the channel. I've been singing his praises for a long time. He'll probably be a familiar name to a lot of you. A Swiss Army knife midfielder. Again, a guy that's went from Philadelphia, winning MLS Cup, being in a big squad and a big team. Again, not full of stars, but one of the more competitive outfits. He had to go to Houston, one of the worst teams in the league. They lost a big player to Mexico, and again he went there and became basically a one-man team. Now the situation with that is he's only actually got a contract with Houston until December 31st, until the end of the year. This is a move we could make very cheap, very effective. And really, no matter what Nancy wants to do in midfield, this guy could play a huge part. Half Irish, half American. He's got a left foot to die for. He plays very, very well in midfield. Can play right mid coming inside with that left foot, Matt O'Reilly style. can be a guy in the base of midfield dictating tempo, and can be a guy crashing the box from the number 10 position. Very, very exciting midfielder, someone that, given the situation of everything, I would think we would be all over. In a very similar situation is Sebastian Berhalter, who's kind of rose to prominence this year at Vancouver. He is a bit more energetic, let's say, a bit more vibrant, wins a lot more tackles and interceptions, is a playmaker, a set piece taker as well, and maybe isn't quite the defensive midfielder that I would want us to be, but is maybe, if you can imagine a lazy comparison, an American Hatate kind of vibe, you know, just maybe a wee, you know, in your face, a wee bit shoulder to shoulder, loves to be on the ball, loves some techers, loves to dictate play, and his contract is up at the end of the calendar year, currently rated at €3 million as well. He's got some caps, he's also half Irish, which is fun. And for defence, especially for the immediate term, I think we really need to see what Nancy does with this squad, who he values, who he thinks is a weakness, where he needs some strengthening, that sort of thing. But like I mentioned in the tip off to the video, I think this will open the doors for us to shop a lot more in South America, and one guy that crosses the Venn diagram perfectly. We don't have a ball-winning midfielder, a guy who's played in MLS, won MLS Cup, a guy who's went to South America, yearning for that move to Europe. I've mentioned him once on the channel when I said if I had to put my name on it, if I had to put a job on the line to bring a guy in that would work, it would be Nicola Acevedo. Now, since we highlighted him on the channel, he has got right back into the Bahia team. This was right about the last time we mentioned him, right back when. And since then, he's got back into the team. He's been playing fantastically well. He's at Bahia in Brazil, which is another team in the Man City group. So New York couldn't get him into Europe. They moved him to Brazil to try and, like, the Brazilian league is higher rated than MLS in terms of, you know, credentials and if you can cut it there kind of thing. And Bahia are not a good squad, but he's getting in the team. He's doing his thing. He's performing, I would say, pretty well. And just take it from me, this guy would work. This guy would fit in at Celtic. He's the exact sort of player we need. Transfer value's right around where we want it. But as you can see with the contract that we've got here with Bahia, he was on loan at them for a year or two. He then signed a full 4-year contract on arrival. He's starting to get into the Uruguay national team slowly but surely as well through playing in Brazil without having been capped yet. But again, I just thought I would throw that out there as maybe the beginnings of us shopping in South America a bit more full time. To finish the video up with the squad out on screen here, it's hard to fully reimagine exactly how everything is going to be redefined under Nancy, you know, in terms of whose scale's going to be centre, is he going to be left, will Trusty be centre, what will he do with Tierney, what are we thinking about Sriracha, does Inamura come into the picture, and then as for midfield, again, does Bernardo have some legs, what does he think of the likes of McKeown, Engels, Hatate, Negren? There's a lot of guys in here for those midfield 2 or 4 spots, depending on how you want to think of it. Again, Forrest is probably only in contention for 1 spot. We've got all of these guys maybe fighting for a spot as well up in the forward area. Osman's obviously out injured, and then we've got guys, again, all of these players here could be competing for 1 position all of a sudden. The way things go, you never know. So it's kind of hard to really contextualise all of that, but I thought I would give you the lay of the land, just the guys that are good enough, that are maybe somewhat available within our price range, and hopefully, you know, some parallels that we can see from what worked with Ange when he brought random guys in from the J-League, and how that could maybe work with Nancy going to his old club or going to old competitors and going, I would love to have had that guy in my team. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe on the video if you did enjoy this one. For more content like this, get into the comment sections, let me know your thoughts and feelings. Are any of these guys good enough? Will we go for any of them? And, you know, who did we miss out on the video that you think Nancy might have an eye on? You've heard the rumour mill for, maybe you've got your own little hunch on screen, and now some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Thanks again for all the support we've had on the channel over the last couple of weeks. We recently broke through 15,000 subscribers and we're firing towards 18,888. Thanks again, hail hail, and moan the hoops.